Welcome to the UIAAA Connection podcast. We thank GoFan and VNN, the exclusive sponsors of the UIAAA Connection. Now operating as one combined company, GoFan and VNN offer a seamless experience through digital ticketing and athletic websites. They make it easy to direct fans to one central place for schedules, communication, and tickets for both home and away events. We appreciate GoFan and VNN for their continued support and exclusive sponsorship of the UIAAA Connection podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the UIAAA Connection. I'm your host, Mark Hutch Hunter. Today we have 6 special guests. The UIAAA 2026 Student Scholar Award winners, and they are as follows. Megan Buse from Ogden, Alli Bowler from Salem Hills, Presley Castro from Hunter, Bella Hall from Skyview, Jake Mason from Grand, and Brock Richards from Juab. These 6 incredible athletes will be receiving their scholarship awards this evening at the UIAAA banquet at the annual state conference in St. George. Our first guest this evening is Megan Buse from Ogden High School. Welcome to the podcast, Megan.
Thanks for having me.
Some information about Megan before we begin. She's got a 4.0 GPA. She's the Sterling Scholar for World Languages at Ogden, has earned 12 letters in high school, is the soccer team captain and academic all-state in soccer and cross country. That's quite impressive. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience where you went to elementary school, junior high before you got to Ogden.
Yeah, of course. I went to elementary school at T.O. Smith, which is now called Liberty. And then after that, I went to Mount Ogden Junior High.
Perfect. Now tell me, or share with our audience some of the positive experiences you had from playing sports from your younger days before you got to high school.
Yeah, thinking about it, it's hard to just pick one, but I'm the third oldest of 6 sisters, and so I grew up attending all of my siblings like games, soccer games, and track meets, and so just being in that environment and attending like state championship games just made me so excited to be at that stage. And also just competing with them in front yard soccer just brought some positive experiences in my life.
Were you able to play a lot of sports in your elementary days, ASYO, and maybe some junior jazz basketball, etc.? Or
Yes, I played a lot of soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was like 4 years old, and so I did a lot of AYSO. And I only did 1 season of junior jazz.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Megan, what does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
Being a good teammate is something very valuable to me. I think it can mean many things, but one of the most important things to me is that being a good teammate isn't about the stats, and it's just about like caring and not worrying about yourself and being unselfish. For me on the soccer field, it means I have the mentality of good, better, best, which means like if I have a good shot and my teammate has a better one, I just pass it and let them score. And that just brings a positive effect into my life and just makes me even happier than it would have been if I had scored the goal.
That is well said. Let me ask you this. Who's the best coach that you've ever had, and tell us why?
I've had many coaches throughout the years, and it's hard to just pick one, so I picked 2. And the first one is Scott Yetter. He is my track and field coach, and he just knows everyone personally, and he knows who you are as an athlete and your potential, which is very important because he pushes you until you've reached that and even farther. And to me, it just shows that I am more capable of the things that I know as an athlete. And the second one is my soccer coach my freshman and sophomore year. His name is Ryan Robinson, and um, he showed me the importance of being a good teammate as well and the value of a team. Um, by the way he coached us as we were a passing team, so no one on the team was more important than another person. And so that just showed me as I've grown, like in my junior year and senior year when we got a new coach, I continued to have that mentality and play that way.
That is well said. Thank you for sharing those great examples. Let me ask you this. Let's have you share with our audience if you have two pieces of advice for an incoming freshman at a high school and they need to follow Megan's advice in order for them to become a successful student athlete. What would those two pieces of advice be?
Yes, that's a very good question. I think the two for me are balance and time management. First, balance. Um, I think that your effort into all the things in your life is important, and it makes it so one thing isn't being left behind, because I think that in high school sports especially it can be hard, it can be easy to focus on sports, and it can feel that the rest of your life is just being left behind. But I think it's important, like your relationships and academics are also very important as well. And I think that's important to realize as a freshman. Um, and also, one of my favorite quotes, it says, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think that just reflects how, like, if your attitude on something can reflect on different aspects of your life. So it's important to have balance in your life. And the second one is time management. This one's really important to me because I have a really busy life, and a lot of other student athletes have busy lives as well. And um, when I have organization in my life, I feel like I can play better, not having to think about all those things. And yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We'll finish with this. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
After I graduate college, I hope to have a stable job and a career that I am passionate about. I think that's very important. And then after that, um, I'm also hoping to have a career. I'm not sure what, but in the medical field. And so just helping people and helping them better their lives. And then also getting married and having children of my own, and so I can share my passion of sports with them.
That's excellent. That wraps it up for our first guest, Megan Buse from Ogden High School. Megan, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Our second guest this evening is Alli Bowler from Salem Hills High School. Alli is a 4.0 GPA, the Sterling Scholar in Science at Salem Hills, has earned 8 letters in 3 different sports, a member of the National Honor Society, and volleyball academic All-State. Welcome to the podcast, Alli.
Thank you.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience what schools you attended before you got to Salem Hills.
I went to Foothills Elementary School, kindergarten through 6th grade, and then I went to Valley View Middle School for 7th grade, and then I went to Salem Junior High School for 8th and 9th, and then I've been at Salem Hills High School since 10th grade, and I'm a senior now.
Perfect. Share with our audience some of the great experiences you had participating in sports during your elementary years and your junior high years.
I've always loved sports. I did dance for a little bit while I was in elementary school, and then I realized I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my mom and tried volleyball, and I fell in love with volleyball. And so I've been playing volleyball since probably 5th grade. And so that's been super fun. I've played at South County Volleyball Club and at Elevate Volleyball Club, and both of those have been awesome. And then playing high school has been super fun. And then I just started playing lacrosse last year, so that's been super exciting. But yeah.
Excellent. What does it mean to you, Alli, to be a good teammate?
I think being a good teammate is honestly being able to put yourself away and be able to be there for your team sometimes and be able to put your team before the things that you may want or need, and be able to sacrifice for the team's sake and be able to come together and put the differences that you may have aside from your teammates and realize that you guys are all working together for a common goal and find ways that you can connect with them, because I think any person that you could possibly play with, you can find something that you can have in common with or admire about them, and that you can work together for a greater goal than you could ever accomplish by yourself. Sports are an amazing thing like that.
Excellent answer. Thanks for sharing that. Let me ask you this question. It was not on the questions I sent you. Has Mr. Gilly, your athletic director, been treating you well?
Yes, he's been amazing. We love Mr. Gilly. He's an amazing athletic director.
Perfect. Let me ask you this, Allie. Who's the best coach that you've ever played for? And then tell us why.
That'll have to be Cliff Yurkis. He is my lacrosse coach right now, and I had his class. He teaches financial literacy 1060, and I had it last year. And he said something about playing lacrosse at the beginning of the school year, and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting idea. Like I've never thought about playing lacrosse before." And so I went and tried it out, and Yurkis has been the most amazing supportive coach. He genuinely cares about each player and is there to support you and push you, and he sees the potential that each player has on and off the field and is willing to sacrifice the things that he could be doing with his family to be able to support his players. And he truly is like one of the most amazing people that I have ever met, and he truly is an incredible coach and is so motivating and such a great example for me of someone who cares so much about their players, and the way that he is such an amazing person on and off the field, and he pushes us to be our best. So he really is the best coach I've ever had.
Thank you for sharing that. Allie, let me ask you to share two pieces of advice that you would give an incoming freshman at Salem Hills High School. And they would need to follow Allie's advice in order to become a successful student athlete. What would your two pieces of advice be?
My first piece of advice would for sure be, don't let your self-worth and your confidence be reliant on your sports, because sports come and go, they don't last forever. And that's hard to like think about. Like as I'm a senior, like it's hard to think about sports ending. And so you have to realize like all of your worth does not come from sports. Yes, that's a big part of your life and it's something that you really value and you put a lot of work and effort into that. But you need to remember that your worth isn't dependent on how much playing time you're getting or the teammates that you have or things like that. If you're playing JV or if you're playing varsity, you have to remember that your worth is set and you are an amazing person no matter what playing time you're getting, and be willing to put the work in to play where you want to play. If you put in the work, your coach will notice it. Your coach will see the effort that you're putting in, and you have to be patient sometimes. Sometimes it's hard, but I think as you realize like my worth is not set on the sports that I'm playing or how much playing time I'm getting, and realizing that you're amazing no matter what, and as you're trying your best that the hard work will show and it will pay off. Then the second piece of advice that I would put is to enjoy every single moment of it, because sometimes it's easy to take for granted the opportunity that you have to play sports. And as I'm realizing like sports are coming to a close, like I'm not going to get to play forever, which is crazy. But take advantage of every moment that you get to play and you get to be with your friends on a team. You get to like accomplish these amazing goals that you can't accomplish by yourself. And truly like just embrace it and like cherish every single moment that you get to play on a field or on a court or just anything with your teammates.
Great answer. Thanks for sharing that. Let's finish with this. Where do you see yourself, Allie, after you've graduated from college?
So my plan right now is to go to BYU in the fall. Hopefully play lacrosse there. We'll see. Um, but I'm planning to go to BYU to major in biology, and then I'm going to go to PA school, so physician assistant school. And so I'm hoping that after I graduate from there, I can work as a physician's assistant and then have a ranch of my own and have some horses and hang out with my family. So,
That is perfect. On that note, that wraps it up for our second guest today on the podcast. Alli Bowler from Salem Hills High School. Alli, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Our third guest this evening is Presley Castro from Hunter High School. She is a 4.0 GPA, a member of the National Honor Society, has earned 7 letters, in addition to being named Academic All-State, and is the team captain of the soccer and the track team at Hunter. Welcome to the podcast, Presley.
Hi, thank you.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience what schools you attended before you got to Hunter.
Okay, I went to Hunter Elementary, and then I went to Kennedy Junior High, and now I'm at Hunter.
Okay. And share with our audience some of the positive sports experiences you had during your elementary and junior high years.
I started playing sports from a very young age, and then after I played all the way up until COVID, and then after COVID, I started playing in 8th grade, getting back into everything, and then played soccer, basketball, and volleyball during those times. And I just remember falling in love with sports all over again. It was kind of a really, I was super lucky to get to be able to play before getting into high school, and making so many new friends. Growing up in West Valley, we didn't have like the best teams, but we were all super close, and getting to just have, so many fun memories has, shaped kind of, the sports that I wanted to play when I got older. And yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean for you to be a good teammate, Presley?
I think being a good teammate just is remembering that everybody makes mistakes, and having confidence in yourself will give people the opportunity to be able to showcase their own confidence. And treating others with respect is the most important thing. You need to respect your team. You need to respect the game, even if it's hard. And I always just try to be a good example to my teammates, and kind of just show them that it's okay to not be perfect all the time, but just keep trying, and supporting others is really important.
That's very well said. Let me ask you, who is the best coach that you've ever played for, and tell us why?
I love all my coaches. I would have to say one of my favorite coaches was my soccer coach, Oscar. He just knew the game so well, and knew how to like help us grow, but like in very specific ways. He tailored all of his like exercises and all of his drills to what we needed to better our team. I had him all 4 years, and you could just tell like his love for the game was so strong, and he wanted to he just knew what to say. And yeah, I learned so much from him.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to need your advice now, Presley. I need your advice as a senior in high school, and 2 pieces of advice for an incoming freshman. In order to become a successful student athlete at Hunter High, what would your 2 pieces of advice be?
I would say one really big thing is communication. Being able to communicate with your coaches and your teachers is so big. I know a lot of my coaches didn't. We had practices after school, and so I wasn't able to go in, retake tests, and do all that stuff after school. So just having that open communication with my teachers, having them know that I'm an athlete, but then also communicating with my coaches and letting them know that my grades are a priority for me, has made being a student athlete so much easier. And then also just being where you're supposed to be. I think that's so important. And if you are supposed to be at practice, be at practice. If you're supposed to be at school, be at school. Staying with the right people is just so important. It's going to help you so much in the long run.
Great advice. Thanks for sharing. We'll finish up with this question, Presley.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
I want to become an aerospace engineer. I have always had a love for, math and things like that. And so I hope to, just pursue anything in that field. I'm excited to have opportunities after college that will hopefully let me work at NASA one day.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, that wraps it up with our fifth guest of the podcast today,
Mm-hmm.
Presley Castro from Hunter High. Presley, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Of course, thank you for having me. It was great.
Our fourth guest today is Bella Hall from Skyview High School. Bella is a 4.0 GPA, a 3-year member of the National Honor Society, has earned 9 athletic letters in 3 different sports. She is the student body historian at Skyview and academic All-State in soccer and basketball. Welcome to the podcast, Bella.
Hello, happy to be here.
Let's have you share with our audience where you went to school before you got to Skyview.
Okay, so for elementary school, I attended Sunrise Elementary School, and then I went to North Cache Middle School, and now I'm currently at Skyview High School.
Perfect. And so did you begin at Skyview as a freshman or a sophomore?
A freshman.
Okay. And share with our audience some of the positive experiences you had playing sports as a young lady all through elementary school and junior high before you got to Skyview.
Okay, youth sports were the best thing ever. That's where I really met all my friends. All my teammates turned to be like family. And then it's also where I grew the love for the sport. It's where I learned that soccer is what I wanted to play in high school and basketball is what I wanted to play in high school. And so youth sports were the best thing ever. They were fun. It's where I met all my friends, and then it's just where I got the love of the game.
Perfect. Bella, what does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
To be a good teammate, I would say is, showing up to every practice, to every game. And if your teammate's slacking, picking it up for them. And I'd also just say being positive all the time, because sometimes, being a teammate can be hard to stay positive all the time. But I think if we can bring the positivity and distract the negativity, the most important thing is to have a relationship off the court, because that's the most important part. So I'd say just being there for each other and, giving it your all.
Perfect. Let me ask you this. Who is the best coach that you've ever played for? And then tell us why.
I've had so many good coaches. But
Name
the one I
name
would
them
have
all
to
if you'd like.
Oh, okay. I'll name these two. These were my soccer club coaches. I had Casey Erickson and then my coach Natalie. And they were my club soccer coaches. And the reason they were so amazing is they showed up for us every practice, every game. My coach Natalie was like our conditioning coach. She had us run. She pushed us past our limits, past points I didn't even know I could do. And you just left practice feeling like, wow, I did that. And so I feel like that way. And then also just I still have a relationship with them today. I don't play for club with them anymore, but they just care about us so much, and you could feel the love. And so that's why they'd have to be my favorite coaches.
Perfect. Let me have you share two pieces of advice for an incoming freshman at Skyview High School, and they need to follow Bella's pieces of advice in order to become a successful student athlete. What would those two pieces of advice be?
The first thing I would say is just don't be afraid to show all you have. Coming in as a freshman, it can be intimidating because you're at a new school, coaches who have never seen you play before, girls that can be 3 years older than you. It can be intimidating, and I'd say just show what you got. Be confident in yourself and just work hard. And then the second thing I would say is just give 100% effort. If you're giving 100% effort, your teammates are going to see that. They're going to want to be playing 100%. And if you end up needing a sub, you can get on the bench and your coaches will see that effort and they'll put you right back in. And it never hurts. And so that's what I'd say. Just give 100% effort and then just don't be afraid to show up.
Perfect. On a side note, I need to ask you if Mr. Grunig, your athletic director, is being good to you.
Oh, Mr. Grunig is wonderful. He's very good to me. He's the
That's
best.
excellent. That's excellent. He'll smile when he hears this. Let's finish up with this question then. Bella, where do you see yourself after you've graduated from the university?
Where I see myself is, I want to be successful. I want to have a family someday. And then, I want to have a job that I love. And just hopefully I'll be able to teach my kids some sports and see where they want to go from there. But just hopefully having a successful life.
That's perfect. On that note, that wraps up our fourth guest of the evening, Bella Hall from Skyview High School. Thanks, Bella, for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Our fifth guest this evening is Jake Mason, senior at Grand High School. He has a 3.87 GPA, has been a 3-year member of the National Honor Society, has earned 8 letters. He's the soccer and basketball team captain and has completed his CTE pathway in architecture. Welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
Let's have you begin by sharing the other schools you attended before you attended Grand High School.
I was HMK Elementary School, kindergarten through 6th grade, and then Margaret L. Hopkins Middle School, 7th and 8th, and then Grant County High School.
Okay, so you moved to Moab before your 9th grade year?
No, I've lived here my whole life.
Oh,
I've
okay.
been through elementary school, preschool through 6th grade.
Oh, so sure, and so obviously, then you were obviously went to Grand as a 9th grader rather than at the middle school, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Share some of the positive experiences you've had from playing sports in your youth before you got to high school.
Just meeting new people and friends and teammates that I would grow up with, continue playing those sports with, and just meeting new coaches and learning to get the feel of each sport and continuing to practice and get better.
Tell me about your athletic director at Grand County High School, Ron Dolphin.
I don't really know him much, but for whatever he does with the school, he's a great guy and he helps the best he can do with as much as he can. He cares a lot for the school and the sports, and it's great to have him there.
Perfect. Let me ask you this, Jake. What does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
To be a good teammate, it means to me like you need to create bonds with your teammates so that like you play them, you know what their roles are and how to play with them. And when new people come to the game, you know what to do with them as well. And sorry, I have a cold. And if they have troubles, you can be a leadership and you can help them through the process. Just creating bond and getting to know each other.
Perfect. Let me ask you this. Who was the best coach you've ever had, and tell us why?
Can I name more than one?
Absolutely.
My basketball coach, Ben Bird and Chris Pirelli. I think they're the best because Ben, he's had a lot of experience with basketball. And if someone has troubles learning something, he teaches us through each motion, each step of the process to get better. And Chris, he went and played college basketball in Chicago. So he has also as much experience as Ben. And if someone, for example, me, when I get into a bad mindset and I start to doubt myself, he helps me a lot through getting through those bad places and sticking through and having a positive mindset. And he also helps a lot with practice and just becoming better at the sport.
All right, perfect. Let me ask you this then. Um, if you had two pieces of advice for a brand new freshman entering high school, and they needed to follow Jake's advice in order for them to become a successful student athlete, what would those two pieces of advice be?
I'd tell them to like stay up on their grades because that matters, I think, the most, being eligible to play and showing up for your team. If you're not there to support your team, it kind of reflects bad on you, and it just doesn't get that part of being a good teammate.
Perfect. We'll finish with this question, Jake. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
I hopefully see myself starting a company with architecture and hopefully getting into the architect business.
And
Hopefully,
go ahead.
and hopefully there is some sports in there. But right now, during college, I want to focus on architecture
Perfect.
and to pursue that after.
All right, that wraps it up for our fifth guest this evening. Once again, Jake Mason from Grand County High School. Thanks for being on the podcast, Jake.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our sixth and final guest on today's podcast is Brock Richards, senior at UAB High School. Brock carries a 4.0 GPA, a member of the National Honor Society, has earned 6 letters in his high school career, has 33 college credits, which is impressive, and academic all-state in baseball and football. Welcome to the podcast, Brock.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. I feel privileged to be talking with you today, and I'm excited.
Well, let's have you begin by sharing with our audience where you attended elementary and middle school.
Yeah. So the list is a little bit lengthy. I started at I used to live in Kaysville, and I started in Jefferson Academy, which is a little private school. So I went to there from kindergarten till second grade, and then they actually built a new elementary school near my home in Kaysville, and I went there for the start of third grade, and then we actually moved down to Juab County, and now I live in Mona, and I went to Mona Elementary the last half of third grade and then up through sixth grade. So kind of 3 on that list.
And then at junior high?
Yeah, and then I went to Juab Junior High for sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. I was actually the first class to do when they changed it into a true junior high and did the 3 grades there. So that was kind of unique. And then, of course, now I'm at Juab High School.
And you say you live in Mona. I just drove by there the other day on my way back from the Grand Canyon. I can remember when I was a young boy, and this is long before your parents were even born. Mona was just a tiny little town. I'll bet it didn't have more than 100 people, but now I'll bet there's thousands of people that live there.
Yeah, there is. It's growing like crazy down here. People seem to move here, love it, invite their friends and neighbors from other places. But yeah, it's growing. It's growing crazy. We moved here about 7 years ago, and even since we've moved here, it's grown pretty rapidly.
That's great. Let's have you share some of the positive experiences you had playing youth sports in your elementary years and your middle school years.
Yeah, of course. I think one of the ones that kind of stuck out to me was just going to the park with my family. Whether I was taking batting practice, throwing around the football, playing tag, that kind of was just always a core memory of mine. Going to the park, spending time with each other, enjoying the outdoors. And then, of course, you go on to elementary school, and every recess you were playing football, basketball, soccer, anything, whatever ball you could find that recess is kind of what you were playing. And that's the definition of positive youth experience. Getting to work with teammates, getting to learn how to compete at a young age. I had 3 brothers that were right around my age, and competing with them for everything every day was super positive for me.
You mentioned teammates, Brock. What does it mean to you to be a good teammate?
Yeah, I love that question because when you think about teammates, everything that's such a fundamental thing of all athletics. Not athletics, all of life. Your family's a team unit, businesses have units, and to have good team chemistry and to be a good teammate requires many things. You got to push each other, you have to help each other when you need. But when I think of that question, the thing that kind of comes to the front of my mind is trust. Teammates trust each other. That's just how it is. And that trust isn't earned in one practice or overnight. It's earned through a process of repetition and doing that. And I played high school football, and I kind of excelled at that in high school, and that's kind of what that was my main sport. And one of the examples of trust in high school football, I played running back, and one of the great things, probably our most effective running play is called the trap. We call it the 22 trap. And it's a football play where your offensive lineman leaves the D tackle that you're running right at, and he goes straight to the middle linebacker on the second level. And you get the ball and you just run straight at that guy. And it looks like they're always bigger than you because they're the D tackle and you're the running back. And it looks like he's going to hit you head on, and you trust. And then your other offside guard pulls and smashes him out of the way and opens up the hole. And that right there is just kind of the definition of trust. You don't know he's going to be there. You're not watching over to see if your guy's coming. You just trust that he's coming. And if he's not, you're going to get lit up. But after time, you've done it enough to trust that guy that he's going to be there. So you run through the hole, and it works out. And it's a successful play because of that trust. So when I think of teammate, trust is kind of what comes to my mind.
That is well said. Thank you for sharing that. I need to ask you, does your athletic director, Mr. Morelli, take care of you?
He does. Mr. Morelli's a good one. He's always keeping us in line, whether we're on the field, getting our grades up, in the pit, whatever. He does a nice job. He's a good man.
Excellent. Let me ask you this, Brock. Who is the best coach that you've ever played for, and then tell us why?
Yeah, that's a great question because I've had so many coaches that have blessed my life in ways that I couldn't express on this podcast because there's too many. But I think probably a common answer is my dad. He was there from the very beginning, and he taught me a couple core lessons that will stick with me through the rest of my life. And as a coach, he taught me them, but as I've gone on, I've learned that they apply to so much more than life. One of the things he taught me is to keep your chin up. Whether it was walking back to the dugout after striking out or dropping a pass on the football team, you could just hear him yell, "Hey, chin up." And on the field, you kind of think that just means, okay, stop, improve your body language, quit pouting or whatever. But as I've continued through life a little bit and got a little older, I've realized that the meaning goes so much deeper than sports. It's really about when things don't go your way, keep your chin up. Don't be all disappointed because then you're going to miss out on other opportunities. And I think that's kind of one of the things that stuck out to me the most as he's taught me. And one other thing that a coach taught me was to be 1-0. And this is also my dad. 1-0 is a record, but 1-0, he'd say be 1-0 in everything you do. Every pitch, every snap, every math test, every math class, be 1-0 and win that play or that hour, and just kind of don't reflect on what happened the last play. Think about the play you're on and win that one. And I think that that has helped me in so many ways and really blessed my life. And I learned all those from my dad, who's been a great coach and pretty much coached me in everything I've done.
That is some great insight. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let me have you share 2 pieces of advice for a brand new freshman at UAB High School, and they would need to follow Brock's advice in order to become a successful student athlete. What would your 2 pieces of advice be?
Yeah, that's a great question because my brother is actually a freshman and I've got to play football with him, and now I'm playing baseball with him. And it's been kind of fun to be the coach to him a little bit, if you will, and explain to him and give him advice that I think could help him. But the first piece of advice I would give to any incoming freshman is to be a good student. High school is hard. You're busy. You're doing sports. You're doing schoolwork. A lot of these athletes have other extracurricular activities, And I think being a good student is super important. Studies and studies have shown that being a good classroom success and being a good student is directly linked and has a strong correlation to success on the field or the court or whatever you're doing. And I think that this classwork teaches us how to learn. And I think because of that, and because of us being able to learn how to learn, we're able to learn how to learn better on the football field, better on the baseball field. And I think that just kind of gives us the advantage on that. And then the other piece of advice I'd give to an incoming freshman is to enjoy it all. It goes fast. Enjoy every practice, even when they're long and hot. Enjoy every bus ride. Enjoy every film session. I was a freshman, and I remember sitting in the film room of football, and the senior captains were talking, and they were saying to enjoy it all because it goes fast. And I was sitting probably 8 rows back, not really paying attention, thinking, yeah, everyone says that. Oh, well. But now where I'm at right now, I can truly say that it goes fast. It goes fast, faster than you think it, faster than you want it to. And I think just enjoying it, don't take it too serious. It's fun. So yeah, I think those are probably the 2 pieces of advice I'd leave to a freshman.
Some great advice. Thank you for sharing that. We'll finish up with this question. Where do you see yourself after you've graduated from college?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm still kind of deciding. I don't have it all figured out yet, probably like most seniors my age. But I've always wanted to be a lawyer, so I plan to get a bachelor's and then go to law school and become a lawyer. And I also see myself with a family and being able to coach some of my own kids and share with them the lessons I've learned from the great coaches I've had, and tried to share with them the lessons that athletics teach us, because I really think there's lessons that athletics teach us that nothing else can.
That's perfect. On that note, that wraps up our last guest on today's podcast. Thank you, Brock, for being on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
For our listeners, we hope you tune in again next week for another edition of the UIAAA Connection.